The scene at the Washington, D.C. Mall was nothing short of surreal as the presidential motorcade tore through the empty, drained bed of the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool in the dead of night. This bizarre late-night spectacle set the stage for what many are describing as a full-blown psychotic meltdown, as President pivoted from infrastructure aesthetics to casual threats of international warfare. Standing against the backdrop of construction equipment and heavy machinery, Donald Trump appeared less like a statesman and more like a man besieged by his own fixations, launching into a series of verbal attacks and confusing economic claims that left onlookers and the press corps stunned. When ABC News reporter Rachel Scott pressed him on why his administration was prioritizing golden ballrooms, triumphal arches, and the aesthetics of the reflecting pool, while American families struggled with soaring gas prices, the response was immediate and vitriolic. Rather than addressing the economic burden on the public, Trump chose to berate the reporter, labeling her a horror show and a disgrace to our country. In a particularly bizarre moment of condescension, he suggested that Scott simply couldn't comprehend the complexities of dirt as well as he could. To Trump, the removal of 11 or 12 truckloads of fill from the water was a monumental achievement of national pride. He equated the physical cleanliness of a pond with the very essence of what makes the country great, even as the geopolitical landscape around him grew increasingly volatile. The disconnect between the podium and the pump became even more apparent when the conversation shifted to the economy. Despite the nationwide average for gas climbing toward $4.45 per gallon, with some states seeing prices north of $6, Trump insisted that prices had come down very substantially that very day. He flatly dismissed the reality of the market, claiming that the stock market performance and a supposed negative break in fuel costs were signs of a booming era. He painted a picture of a future where gas prices would fall to historic lows once international conflicts were resolved, yet his optimistic rhetoric stood in stark contrast to the daily financial reality of the citizens he was addressing. Perhaps the most chilling turn of the evening occurred when Trump turned his attention to a group of construction workers on the site. In a jarring transition from discussing landscaping to discussing global security, he began soliciting their opinions on Iran's nuclear capabilities. With a casualness that defied the gravity of the subject, he recounted telling his advisors to blow them up a little bit, framing military strikes as a necessary U-turn to protect the beauty of his domestic projects. The idea that a nuclear weapon might ruin the hard work of these laborers seemed to be his primary concern, reducing high-stakes geopolitical strategy and potential for war crimes to a matter of protecting his preferred scenery. As the night wound down, the focus shifted toward emerging public health concerns regarding the Hun virus. When asked if Americans should be worried, Trump offered a dismissive "I hope not," a phrase that hauntingly echoed his early, controversial handling of the pandemic in February 2020. This repetitive pattern of minimizing global threats while focusing on vanity projects and aggressive rhetoric painted a portrait of a leader increasingly detached from conventional governance. The midnight briefing at the reflecting pool wasn't just a press event. It was a chaotic window into a mindset where beauty and cleanliness take precedence over the looming shadows of war and disease, leaving the public to wonder where the line between policy and personal obsession truly lies.